Welcome to my new interview series titled Just Talking, a series where I interview my fellow indie comic book writers about various topics like the landscape of the industry, their approach to the craft, the future of indie comics, and so much more. Welcome back to part 2 of Just Talking. In this episode, Nick Patch dives deep into Dan Harmon's circular approach to plot and character development, or rather, his own version of the hero's journey, and how it helped Nick Patch create his very own version of that particular method to his madness, as he likes to call it. So I'll keep this one short. Just like, sub, and leave a comment. If you like this kind of content, please let me know and I'll produce more. And so sit back and enjoy the conversation. Peace. I wanted to say that.
Oh, yeah. So what Dan Harmon did is he said there's a lot of stuff here that doesn't need to be here. There's I'd like more symmetry, because their departure and return line was, if you look at the circle for the hero's journey, that line where they depart and then return isn't like center of the circle horizontal. It's like up higher. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not splitting the circle in half. So Dan thought, I want some more symmetry and more simplicity, right? And so he created the story circle, which is now up on screen. And so I kind of, again, so like, I'm giving flowers to these guys. This is not the system I use exactly, right? So just ignore all this right now.
Sure.
But actually, I can keep that crossed out. Anyway, so his story circle, as you can tell, it's more symmetrical. So in step 3, you have departure, which is straight up from the hero's journey. Same word, I believe. And here you have your return. So it's actually symmetrical. Cuts this circle directly in half. So this is what Dan Harmon wanted to do. And then he also added the vertical line, which is like, he talked about how like it's a change in the character and how there were certain things built into it, like reactivity and proactivity. So like reactivity on this side and then proactivity on this side. I don't really go with that, though. I think that kind of, that could work. I think that could be its own arc. So like, again, it's like these people keep doing things and then saying this is gospel, or people take it as gospel, and I think Dan Harmon used it as his own gospel, but I think that they're unnecessary. So I'm trying to get down to the base, but I'll just go through. So this is Dan Harmon's want. He actually says go, actually, is what Dan Harmon says. Say departure. Departure, go. Search is what he says. Find. Take. See, so he's really keeping it simple, like he wanted. Change. And so he describes this as like, you are different now, right? But I think that's wrong. I think that this needs to be, you change your home, you could say. Change the place you started in. Because you change here. So like this is redundant, if that makes sense. So this is Dan Harmon's. I do something different because he said, I think Joseph Campbell's is too complex and not symmetrical. I want it to be simple and I want it to be symmetrical. And I love the symmetry, but I think that it needs more complexity, and again, it needs to be more actionable. Because what does you even mean? It's just establishing who you are. What is want? Like, well, everyone wants something, but like, is that something you should want? And it's like, these things are just like disconnected, all of these steps. So what I did is I turned these into like actual plot points, because you is not a plot point. You know what I mean? Describing where someone's at right now, that's not a thing that happens. That's not a plot point. So like, I wanted to make it a plot point. So I consider it to be trauma. And I mean what that actually is. Not like you're traumatizing me with the words you're saying to me. Like people use it nowadays.
Right.
Yeah, so trauma. Step 2 can't just be you want something. It's like there's a problem now, right? And this will lead to a couple things. Wait, that's a D. Needed to be whatever. An N. Need. And then we have departure, so that one stays the same. And something Harmon didn't mention, but I'm sure he would, is, again, what the South Park guys say.
Yeah.
These are all therefores, right? One leads to the next. Yeah. So instead of a search, because that's vague and also could be wrong. Like I'm kind of almost vaguing it up a little bit, because like searching, that's like so vague. Like you're searching for the thing you want. Like, come on. Like, let's,
Oh,
like,
wait. Hold on. How is that vague? I mean, you're like searching for.
Yeah. So what does that mean?
Well, it means you're searching for something.
Yeah, it means they're searching for.
It depends. It depends.
Actually, so like when I say vague, I actually mean something else. What I mean here for this word is actually like it's too. Well, it's kind of vague but specific. It's weird. It's weird.
It's well, I see it as it's when the character searches for whatever it is they're searching, depending on the story being told.
Right, but so again, I don't think that's you can turn search into a plot point. I actually think that search
you can.
Well, maybe, but it's like a process, not a point.
It's part of the process, but it can still be a plot point.
Okay.
Like for instance, I'll give you an example. I'll give you one example off the top of my head. Back to the Future. The search was when Marty goes back in time. The search is looking for Doc Brown to help him get back to 1985. But subtextually, the search was to regain his confidence. Subtextually speaking, because if you remember, before he goes back in time, he has that demo tape. His girlfriend Jennifer telling him you should share it, and he's like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't think it's good enough. What did they tell me I'm not good enough?
I like the way you're breaking this down. Actually, I really like that.
So that's that's subtextually. That's underneath the surface. And the reason why I noticed is because I studied it, right? But the common consumer will pick that up subconsciously. Pick that up.
So I think that you'll as I keep going, I think you may be able to see why that fits perfectly into this.
Yeah, for sure.
So when I say vague, but like whatever, when I say vague but specific, it's a hard thing to nail down as to why it's a problem to call it search.
Okay.
But like, I'd rather it be first attempt at getting what you want, because a lot of the times they say it's search, but like, what if you already know where it is, right? So you're trying to get it. Right?
Yes. And there is I think it was also McKee who wrote that a lot of the times you should have the character find it first and then lose it.
Yeah, see? That's cool. I like that. And there's actually a bunch of ways that you can make this play out. Maybe I'll go into it in a little more detail after I just break down the 8 steps. But then we have this thing that I like to call anti-trauma.
Interesting. Okay.
Which basically, like, it's just like you can almost say this is just a repeat of the trauma almost. Or it could be the opposite. It kind of depends on how you execute the details. But I'll move on from that just to get the rest of them out.
Okay.
Second attempt. right? So this is where
All right.
take happens, right? But what if you have a negative arc, right? What if they take it in step 4, but then like they're prideful and they don't change, or they change for the worse, like Scarface, right? And then
Right. Yeah.
you have a
Right.
second attempt where it gets taken from him, and so I wanted these to be a little more flexible in what I called them, instead of take and search. These can be different things, right? It can be success, failure, false success, false failure, progression. There's a lot of things that those could be. Then we have return. And then I don't call this change, I call this resolution. And this is directly linked to the problem, right?
Okay.
So it's
Right.
the resolution of that problem. And I call it resolution, not solution, because it could be a solution or a dissolution. So
Right.
in that,
Right.
right, it could be a permeation of the problem, a permutation of the problem, like it becomes permanent, or it's made worse, or whatever. So like problem, my bookie is after me because I haven't been paying him. Dissolution could be like he killed me, like you know what I mean?
Right.
So
Or it could be I was able to pay him a little bit of it, but they broke my thumbs and they broke my legs.
yeah,
I can't walk anymore.
maybe I might throw that in as a step 4 instead. So first
With the
attempt, I paid him
with
a
the first
little bit.
attempt.
Yeah, like a
Right. Yeah, and then
progression.
get the rest of the money, or else I'm gonna do worse, kind of deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Your family's next, or
Right.
you have legs too, like
Yeah. Right.
yeah. So the step 8 is directly linked, and you may notice something, because I like I said, I love the symmetry, but I want to get away from like oversimplification to the point that it's inactionable. But here's the symmetry I love. So that's a straight line. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This is a straight line.
Right.
This is a straight line. You see? 4 and 6
Absolutely.
obviously are directly linked because they're progressions towards the same goal.
Interesting. Okay.
But on top of that, you have 2 connects here and 2 connects here. So you have, and 4, because of like what you learned throughout that gives you the ability to change things. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
No,
it's
absolutely.
all
Absolutely.
symmetry.
Wow. So you weren't kidding when you say you're completely structural then when it comes to your to writing your stories then.
Oh yeah,
That's
dude.
that's pretty that's pretty that's interesting. That's very interesting because you're right. I'm the total opposite of all this. This is all not specifically this, because this sounds like it's all you, like you developed this yourself for your own reference. But what I did was, when I studied, the Joseph Campbells, the Robert McKees, and so on and so forth, I just kind of soaked it in and just kept it stored in my mind as reference when I did write out a story, freestyle.
Right.
Just get it out, because I have the formulas in my head already. So I just have to tell myself, okay, I need a beginning, middle, and end, and then just need to figure out how to fill those three holes for the
Right.
plot.
Yeah. And there's this saying that I heard that is like, you have to. Art isn't the absence of structure, but art is adhering to a structure, and then so much practice in that you now it's natural, and you don't have, so like where you're kind of keeping these principles in your head and
Right.
doing it instead of kind of sciencing it out. That's good too.
No,
so,
I mean, this is very helpful, to be honest with you. I'm like, yeah, this is actually, really, I don't want to say simplified, but it's a different angle on how to approach developing the plot.
right.
See,
like,
and it will be helpful. I see it would be.
yeah, so like I just wanted things to be actionable, and so like I want, how do things connect to things, when do things change, like what's changing, even so, like find. So step 5 was find, and Dan Harmon says this is the character finding themselves, and it's like that's so inactionable. What does that mean, dude?
Well,
Solidify this
I
a little
think
bit, man.
I think I could help define that if I may indulge you.
Mhm.
I would say finding yourself, meaning like going back to the Back to the Future reference. Marty is insecure, right? And then when he comes back to 1985, his family they've leveled up because of his actions back in 1955. And so finding himself was that he found the inner confidence that he needed, that he had in the beginning.
Right.
Or
So,
it could be a shortcoming, it could be a shortcoming of it. Like another example I could think of is Luke in the first Star Wars movie.
mhm.
He kind of understands the Force, but doesn't really get it, doesn't understand the Jedi way yet. And then in the end, he trusts the Force completely in the end at the moment he needed it to complete. So now he knows himself. Now he knows he's fully developed, I guess you could say. I think that's what he meant by that, finding yourself, when Dan Harmon said it.
Right. Yeah. And I don't think you're wrong, but I think that saying that, especially to maybe like a young writer who's new and hasn't found themselves yet, you could say, quote, and doesn't really know what that means,
Mm, mm.
then, that's not helpful. It almost is like it could be the opposite, I think, where it's like, oh, they're supposed to find themselves, like, they discover that they are, that they're way better initially than they thought they were for no reason at all. Like Captain Marvel, like finding herself. What did that? I don't know if you saw Captain Marvel, but it's like, you are amazing, and you are this, you
Yeah,
are
that
that,
was.
right?
See, yeah, the problem. Okay, I'll give you my personal problem with Captain Marvel. I still enjoyed the movie. But the problem I had with it was the execution of those themes. It was too on the nose. It was too in your face. It was too like, dude, like you couldn't have found a better way to present this theme that you wanted to present the audience, which was because again, I'm not opposed to movies that involve female empowerment or any kind of empowerment of whatever. As long as you tell a good story around it, I'm all for it. You just gotta make me lose myself in the movie. And if you don't do that, if you're right here in my face, like, hey, empowerment, right? You get it. Then it's like, it's off-putting.
Yeah, I
So that was
feel
my
you.
problem with Captain Marvel.
Mhm. With that, I think it's just not. It's vague. It's this
Yes,
vague. You're
yes,
amazing. You're
yeah,
this. You're that,
hmm
and then that for some reason makes her like able to like overcome the bad guy.
yeah,
Just this belief that she's
yeah.
amazing. That's not good. That's not good writing. Like,
No, it's
um,
not.
I think if you want to see a story about female empowerment, you should watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, there
That's
you
a
go.
that's a
There you
way
go.
better one.
hmm Yep,
But
that's a good
yeah,
example.
so as far as like that goes, this is how I break it down.
Mm,
Trauma, step 1, affects this, and anti-trauma affects this as well. So it'll change it. So you get the initial like who the character is, or like how they act, their worldview. That
right.
comes from that initial trauma, which is a fear of repetition. Ooh, that's a T, not
Interesting.
a P. Repetition of the trauma. Nope,
It's a
missing.
it's a set two E's. So instead of the I, it's an E at P.
Repetition.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, perfect.
Repetition.
So they're afraid of repeating that trauma. Then they have a question of how to avoid it. And then they have an
Hmm.
answer, which can be true or false, right? And then you would have the same thing down here, which this is something that I was missing for a long time. And when I discovered this, it like changed everything. Not just in the structure, but it changed me and my own mindset. which is, I don't know if you're here. Are you here?
No, I'm here. I'm just showing. It was our boxes were blocking the second hope question
Okay.
answer.
So you can cut this out. That part. But yeah.
Okay.
So when I like discovered the hope thing, it actually
Right.
changed not just the structure, but it changed me and the way I view things and approach life. But so like hope is like a hope for like the opposite of the trauma, but it's
Right.
the way that I like to put it, because it's such an easy example, and I've been using this with Roy Beckwith. So say that this is a fear of loss. Well, then you have a hope for love / connection, right? Yeah, / connect, whatever. So it's the opposite of that trauma. So people will focus on fear so much that it holds them back from getting what they
Right.
need, which is what right. So that's like the hope. And so you have a question of how to attain that. And then again, the answer can be true or can be false.
Okay. What's the
Right.
true and false idea? Is that something that just kind of like you get a good ending or a bad ending? Or what exactly does that mean when you true or false?
Okay. I see what you're saying. So I like to start the character off with one wrong answer, right?
Okay. All right.
So that means that their worldview is dissonant, right? It
Okay.
doesn't actually it doesn't mesh with itself,
I see.
and that creates anxiety and depression, literally. So when it's like that's psychology.
Right.
So in trauma, step one, we want one of these answers to be wrong. And then in anti-trauma, they discover the right answer for the one that was wrong. And all of a sudden, they see the full picture for what it really is. And they can adjust their behavior in accordance with this new worldview that they have. Right. So, one of the simple ways I like to put this is I'm afraid of dying, say, by a bear. Right.
Right.
But I also need food to live. Right. So, well, if you say my answer to how to get food to survive is hunt deer in the woods, but then my answer to avoid dying by a bear is to not go in the woods, you see how those things now don't mesh, right?
Right.
So, so the right answer would probably be, I don't know, bear repellent, whatever it is. Like there are precautions to take.
Right. Right.
Make sure you don't run into a bear, or that you're prepared to, get away from it, or
Exactly.
you just need to be more conscientious, basically, about it. So these worldviews come into alignment in step 5, and then you can go and get what. And also, your this is something I need to mention, is that based on your worldview, you interpret your problem a certain way, and then decide how to go about getting it a certain way, that solving that problem in a certain way. So your want is like based on your worldview, what you think will solve your problem, right? But then in step 5, if you have a positive arc, you discover what you need. And so that's you now in step 6, trying to get the thing you need instead of the thing you want, which is why, again, like search and take and everything, I didn't like those words, because and step 2 being want in general. It's like, what if you find out you wanted the wrong thing? You know what I mean?
No, you're right. That reminds me of Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, right. Yeah. He wanted the chick that was the baddie,
Yeah.
yeah. And found out along the way that that's not really what he wanted. overall. Yeah, or what he
And
needed.
there was an anti-trauma, and there was the second attempt, as we saw in the end of the movie, I believe it was.
So I absolutely love Edgar Wright. So just throwing that out there. Pacing,
Well, I mean,
structure,
he's
that guy's got it
talented.
all. Yeah, he's
Yeah, for sure. He's very talented. Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, basically that's like the structure, and this is so actionable, it's insane. It's
That's a very clear breakdown as to what you mean by actionable, and why you had a problem with I mean, not a personal problem, but why your issue with like the Campbell formula or the Save the Cat formula just were not I guess vibing with you, and that's understandable because it's not for everybody. And I think even some of those writers do say like, this is not a for sure formula for success. It's just a formula that worked for me. Hopefully it'll work for you. And it's just a matter of how, finding your own way to tell your stories. And I think that's where a lot of young writers fail too, is that and it's normal, right? You copy what you know, but the whole point is as you grow, you should steer away from it and find your own approach and your own voice when it comes to telling stories.
Right.
So this is great, man. This is a great breakdown that I think you could one day either put into a book or even make a video, like a total breakdown.
I really want to do a book.
Yeah.
So this is like the basics.
Folks, it may not sound basic, but it's pretty basic.
This is the basics. Because now you're presented with the question of, well, how do I have multiple characters have arcs and have their arcs be meaningful together? How do I have a longer form story that doesn't lose moment to moment, intrigue, whatever, all of that stuff. There's I'll just break it down really fast what it is. I'm not going to break down everything, but there's layering these circles. So you have your bigger story, smaller ones that feed into that bigger story.
Yeah.
Right. So then you have different characters, and now it's like, how do I layer those? Well, like a good way to do that, say you have this is how I like to do it. This is going to look weird. So this is a representation of an octahedron, which is like two square pyramids on top of each other, right?
Got it.
So if you had these lines in it, now you have those lines. So this is just an easier way to see that. So you have these characters you can have. So I like to have two cores. So like a character on one layer, say here they're dealing with loss, here they're dealing with betrayal.
Okay.
And then they would just layer down. So this would be loss. This whole thing would be loss. And so this would also be betrayal. And then if you went smaller, it would go back to betrayal, and it would just go back and forth. And there's a lot of like mathematical reasons why that has to be the case. But that's the basics. So say they have like a lie, a truth, a lie. So you would have fear, hope, and then a different fear and a different hope. Does that make sense? So this just aligns with that. And then so with these 6, you can have every possible combination of 2, right? So like I said, I like to have one right and one wrong about each like topic. So you could then have this opposing one be like that. And then you could have like that. And then this opposing one could be like that. And then
I see. Okay.
So you kind of see what I mean there.
Yeah.
And the LLTT and TTLL, right? So now you have every possible combination of truths, of worldviews on these topics, with 6 characters, right? And you could do this with smaller. You could just have them be opposing. If you just wanted 2 characters, you could just have them be the opposite, or like you can have a villain and a hero, like have some of the same answers, but also like right, yeah, have different answers.
Different approaches, or like you said, different answers, but maybe the same answers, different approaches.
Yeah, well, yeah, so like they have the same fear, but they believe, yeah, we need to avoid this, and this is how you avoid it. They both believe that, but then they have different ideas about how you pursue the thing that we do want. So like if you're afraid of the city being destroyed, like Joker and Batman, they both know, oh, we avoid it by, I don't know, that's a complicated question.
Well, I was thinking of Magneto and Professor Xavier.
Right. So that, yeah, they both say this needs to not happen.
Yes. Yeah.
So then they have different ideas of how to pursue
exactly
the opposite of that, where he says, no, we need to bond with them and mingle with them and become one with them, and he says, no, we need to get rid of them, is Magneto. Right. So yeah, it's like that. And so you have these balances. So there's layering, which is this stuff here underneath, and then there's I don't know what to call this, but like just dealing with multiple characters, basically.
Multiple worldviews, and that's what makes good drama, is when you have diametrically opposed characters mingling in the same space.
Yeah, exactly.
It always makes for the best kind of drama. Again,
Daredevil and Punisher. Yeah,
there you go. Exactly, there you go. That was a perfect example of that. So yeah, that's right on the money. I feel, when it comes to that kind of thing. This is really helpful, honestly. I never really approached writing in this manner, so it's all new to me. It's all very like, oh, interesting. I never would have ever approached it this way.
So you can see maybe why I say I'm a mad scientist.
yeah, I can see that now.
Yeah.
But again, this is all part of why I like doing these interviews, because that's what makes it makes a fascinating conversation for me, because I always like to know, well, what is your approach? How do you approach storytelling? Because there's no right way. People think there is, but I mean, there really is no right way. There's ways that you can do that, but there is no right way to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, so the way I see it is, like, you can have a book of recipes, you can soul cook, or you can be like a chef who's been trained and can make recipes that will work. Right. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yep.
So that's kind of, there's a lot of ways to do it. You can be a soul cook. That's what I like. I like to think of it that way, rather than, people say plotters and pantsers. Like they're just flying by the seat of their pants.
And then I'm definitely a pantser.
Or George R. R. Martin says, architect.
Okay. Yeah.
Which
that's more of a, I would say that's probably Tolkien. Maybe I would say probably put Tolkien in that.
Yeah, and then Gardner.
And Gardner. Would be, I like that.
Which would be George. R. R. Martin. Which I
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I have problems with that, because especially with the side, like, he hasn't finished.
I know. Yeah, it's one of the most things that it's one of the most frustrating things that I always hear from fans of his books, of his work, that it's like, why hasn't he freaking finished this series? This fool's going to die one day. He's going to leave us hanging.
So this is what I prefer to think of myself as, because you might say, oh, you're an architect. You might say that to me. But I
mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There wouldn't be anything wrong with that, because I'm a artiste, I guess, at my core. I may not pronounce it a lot, when I'm on social media or what have, or even on the show, but deep down I am an artiste, meaning I respect everyone else's approach to their art, and it doesn't matter if I agree with it or not. It makes no difference to me, because at the end of the day, it's all about what are you giving me to consume? Is it something?
What's the product at the end?
Yeah, what's the product? Yeah, because I mean, you and I can talk about this all day long, because you and I are writers, and I'm pretty sure if I had 2 or 3 more writers here on the show, it would have made it for an interesting conversation, because everyone has their own approaches to how they write stories. Right. So, I mean, even if you are an architect, do so, like, great. I say own it, because I'm a plotter and a pantser. That's what I'm
You're
in
a
that group.
pantser.
I'm a pantser. Yeah, like a lot of the time I do just make it up as I go, and I just go, all right, well, let's see where it goes. Let's see where it takes me. And then if I like where I'm going, then I'll develop it further. If I don't, then I'll, store it away. Maybe I'll get back to it if I have time, or if it's gnawing at me, like, come on, man, get me out. Then I'll put more work into it. But for the most part, yeah, that's I'm a plotter pantser for sure.
Yeah. So, well, like these are kind of the same, and these are kind of the same. They're just different ways of putting it.
Okay.
Pantser is a gardener, and a plotter is an architect. But like, I prefer to say that I'm a landscape architect.
Nice.
So it's like, I'm gonna plant this here, and these rocks are gonna go here, and we're gonna have a water feature here. But like, things are still gonna grow and change, but in a predictable way. Like, I kind of know where it's headed. I don't know exactly where, but I have a really good idea of where it's going, and I plant things in certain places so that it grows in a certain direction.
See, I'm more with that analogy. I'll use my own analogy. I'm more of a pebble thrower in the lake and see where the ripples take me.
Okay. Yeah. Toss it in and see what happens. I think that's like gardener. Like, I'm gonna plant seeds and I'm gonna see what grows.
Right.
I'm not even sure if this is a tomato seed.
Right.
I'm gonna see what happens with it.
And hopefully it's not a weed. Hopefully it's not a weed that's gonna overtake your garden.
Yeah, it's like you went to the store and bought a bunch of seeds and then mixed them all into one bag and you picked some out and planted them. But yeah, I drew this shape here, and it's kind of complicated shape, and it's even more complicated. So you can see it's like a bunch of squares. Like,
it's what the perspective artist books that I bought over the years pretty much teach you what to do in order to draw shapes three-dimensionally on paper.
Yeah. So it's just like 8 cubes. Yeah.
That's what I'm reading. That's what I'm kind of with when you were drawing. I was like, oh, that's cool. That you're doing that.
Yeah. So each of these cubes actually looks like this has a point at the center, like that. That's Roy Beckwith. And there's all of these are a character. All of these vertices, and this one in the center, they're all characters. And then each of the cubes represents a step in that story circle.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll deal with these 9 characters in step 1, right?
I see. Okay.
And then in step 2, we're going to use this character, this character, this character, and this character in step 2, but we're also going to use this character, this character, this character, and this character, and then the one at the center. And then eventually they'll come back, right? So like in step 4, because we're going to go around, and then we're going to go down here and go around. This guy will come back in step 4. You know what I mean? And
okay.
Right. So so will this guy. So that's like I could go in a lot more depth, and I don't want to because it's like really complicated. It might go over your head, but this is So that's like the whole thing that I do. And that's why I say like that was just the basics.
That was just the basics, huh?
That was just the basics.
So. To those watching at home, I hope you got all that, especially if you're an aspiring writer. If you're a consumer, then hopefully you'll appreciate this, because some writers do put in a lot of work to tell great stories. And I know we make it look easy, but it's not easy. It's not easy sitting down and thinking of something to tell, thinking of a story to tell you, to entertain you. I remember my wife tried to do that one day, because I asked her, because she's like, oh, I shouldn't. I mean, I don't understand how hard it would be to make up a story. And so I challenged her. I was like, well, why don't you sit down and try it? She's like, well, I was like, yeah, just whatever, do whatever you want. Like, just sit down and come up with something. And she did come up with something. And I said, okay, now write the script.
Yeah.
Because one thing to write a paragraph of a story, it's like, I'm not saying that's easy, but that's one thing. But when you actually sit down and write the details as to how the characters move, how they talk, what they do, and pacing, story beats, and so on and so forth, that's a whole different ballpark.
Yeah. And then how different characters interact with each other.
Exactly.
and then, yeah, there's
And
a million
doing
things you have to think of.
and doing draft after draft because you don't because a lot of the time when you write dialogue is the first draft or two, all the characters sound alike, and so you have to go back and figure out how I'm going to distinct these characters when they're talking to each other and not make it sound like it's me talking. And
Yeah,
so
100%.
it's a tough work, man, tough work. And I think a lot of readers don't realize that. And I'm hoping that this series, will get them to see just how much work and effort does go into developing stories. So
Oh yeah,
I'm happy you shared this because it's very insightful that you shared this technique.
yeah, it's some mad science.
Yeah, for sure,
For sure.
definitely.
Some mad science. I don't expect people to like go, oh yeah, that's like definitely the best way or like the only way to
Right.
do anything. But it's like,
Mm-hmm.
if you're like me, where you want symmetry and balance and you want everything to not just feel good moment to moment and everything like that, like you want there to be some kind of rhythm to everything because that's what I
Yeah,
want.
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
as you can tell, I even have a rhythm to how characters come in, leave, and return, like
Right.
into the
Right.
plot, right? So it's not just the rhythm; it's also that it needs to make sense, right? And so, like, I think most people would say that that's true. So, this is my biggest tip: is if you're gonna try and do this crazy stuff, like I'm doing, you have to make sure that it makes sense too. I used to
Right.
think,
Yep.
well, oh, this is the step that I'm at, so this is what's going to happen. Even if it doesn't make sense, that's the step I'm at, right, in the formula. So like, it has to make sense on top of being part of it, the structure. So, but
Well, there you have it.
there you have
Wow.
it.
This
It's
is
a lot.
so what do you call this formula that you just shared with us today? Is there a
Yeah.
name that you gave it, or is it just a circular the circle plot as the Dan Harmon? What did Dan Harmon call it again?
Story circle.
Story circle. Thank you. Story
Yeah,
circle.
and I don't know what I'd call it. Um, I wouldn't call it a structure though. What I prefer to think of it as is uh, it's like chemistry.
Oh,
So like,
interesting. Okay.
yeah, so if you
Like,
understand chemistry, then you can make anything, right?
yeah.
So like that shape I just showed you, that's just Roy Beckwith. Like you could do all kinds of different structures and sets of characters and stuff. You could keep it simple and just have 3 characters. You know what I mean? Like, and there is more to it. There's things called act structures, and people think that 3-act structure or whatever. No, it's like, dude, there's like 100 act structures that I've discovered. Um, and they all just break down the 8 steps in different sizes. Yeah.
I never can comprehend that all those various structures. I like to keep it simple, and the 3-act structure is for me the go to. You
Mhm.
know, beginning, middle, end,
Right.
perfect because it's a reflection of real life. Born, live, die. So
Right. Yeah. And
it
I get that.
it's a yeah the various nuanced structure or like the act one act 1.5 or whatever and so on and so forth. It's great. If it works for you, great. But for me, it's like, nah, I just need simplicity is the key for me. 1, 2, 3,
Right.
and
Yeah.
let's start the story, tell it, and then end it.
The reason I don't like that as like like how to actually do an act structure is because like start, middle, end. It's like, well, yeah, you don't even have to have any acts then, because there's always going to be a start. There's always going to be everything in the middle, and then there's going to be the end. That makes sense. Like
Mm-hmm.
uh, start, middle, end really just describes these 2 points, and then everything in the between is like the middle. So, but I think the 3-act structure that I use is split up like this. If I was going to do one. So basically, like, the character wants something, goes somewhere.
I
They
see.
try to get
Okay.
it. Yeah, you could say they fail. They try to get it. They change how they're acting. They get it. they go back home and they fix the problem. So like that's how I kind of do it. But the way that I do act structures is now that's going to be its own circle with its own 8 steps, and so are these.
Right.
Gotcha. So that's how I like see act structures, you know. But again, yeah, it's like I do some crazy mad science stuff. So like whatever works for you.
You are a mad scientist, man. That's for sure, dude.
Yeah. So
yeah, because all the times you I mean, not all the times, but the few times you have messaged me, you wanted to have this discussion. I had no idea it was like this. I had no idea it was gonna be like this. And I'm quite happy that I finally pulled the trigger and got this out, because it's very interesting. It really is, honestly.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And I just want to just so that like say, how can there be that many act structures? Sorry. How can there be that many act structures? It's like, well, because I discovered this thing called a split structure. So like this is an act, right? So like where you have like problems come up here that kind of go away for the time being during this.
Okay.
And then it returns, and we got to deal with it, right? And then we have like this one. So this I call the Red Sea, the Dead Sea anchor.
Okay.
But this is a Red Sea anchor, as if these were all one act.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That'd be because it splits those. So
right.
Because if you look at it here, and this is a lot, but so 2, 3, 7, 8, right? So this is an act, and it kind of looks like an anchor when it's set up that way.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yes. Right.
And so when it's like that, that's a Dead Sea anchor, but this is a Red Sea anchor because it's splitting the sea. That makes sense.
Gotcha. Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So there's all kind. It's insane. So like, trust me, if you're just so you know, I know I'm crazy.
Well, at least we'll know. At least this reveals that your work is at least structured. That's for sure. Oh, yeah. And there's no room. I mean, I just can't imagine having this kind of preface or this kind of preset before you write your story, of having any fear of having plot holes when you're developing your story.
Yeah,
because that's the biggest fear for a lot of writers, right? Is that they filling up the plot holes when we're developing the stories that we're writing.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of that is knowing where you're going.
Yeah.
And knowing, I want this to happen later. So will that work if I do this now? Yeah. Kind of like you were describing earlier when you were talking about giving advice to other writers on their stuff.
Right.
Like this is inconsistent. It's a plot hole. Obviously, it's like this person was morally against killing this person here.
Right.
And then they just do it over here and don't even think about it. They just kill them. So like that's incongruent. So like, it's just knowing where your story's headed and where you want to go and who your characters are, and like your characters will change. And so like I also need to know when they change and what they change into. I need to know that prior to like really diving in. Otherwise, like, especially with how complex it is. Like I have 35 characters in Roy Beckwith. It's like, plot holes are going to come up if I don't like really like take the time and do my homework on them, and they all have arcs, you know what I mean? They all have character cores and character arcs with multiple layers. So it's like, you're going to run into some plot holes doing the crazy stuff that I do if you don't plan it out.
100%.
100%. It's great. It's crazy. So thanks for letting me come on. And
no, I mean, like I said, it was great to see and get a glimpse of it. And I hope that whoever does watch this, and if they are aspiring writers and they are like you in terms of a mad scientist kind of deal, where they like to, lay everything out before they even write the story. Because I know that I've met a few writers who tell me like I write out everything first, backstory, biographies, all that stuff before I even start writing the story. And
I think there could be a dance between them because, like, what happens when you find out, oh man, I kind of wish I hadn't written this in like my character histories or whatever, like this might actually be better if I do it a slightly different. So like I think it's a dance again,
right,
between
yeah,
writing the history of your characters.
You're absolutely right. I believe that stories should remain fluid until you get them on the printed page.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then once they're on the printed page, it's over. Like you can't take it back anymore after that.
Yeah,
you got to stick
in
with
the public eye for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Solid.
You got
tell George Lucas that.
Yeah,
yeah, because that's how he should have treated it.
He should have treated it that way. I mean, it still worked for me honestly when he released him, but yeah, there's a few things I was like, he could have kept this the same. It was fine originally.
On shot first.
Yeah, exactly. But whatever, good on him for not caring. Because that was him. That was a flex, honestly. I still see to this very day. I still see that as a flex. So him going like, I don't care. I'm gonna redo it. I'm gonna remaster it.
But yeah, it's like we have CGI now. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do this crazy lip lady singing in the third one.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, dude, that was so. I hated that he changed the music in the Jedi. That bothered me a lot.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, you can still watch the original somewhere, I'm sure, bootlegged or whatever.
Yeah, that was another thing that disappointed me. He didn't offer. Well, I'm sure. Hopefully, Disney will offer it soon, but he didn't offer the originals. I was like, dude, offer the originals, man, for those who don't like the remastered version.
Is there word on that, or is that just your hope?
It's my hope.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's my hope that they just released the originals like the way they were released originally. I guess the theatrical versions. Mm-hmm. I think if Disney did that tomorrow, they announced them tomorrow, they would sell out. Like it would do so well if they did that.
Oh, I agree, dude. Everybody would want their hands on that. Like, yeah, I think that would be a big thing. But I think that George maybe in the contract stipulated they can't. Like,
oh really gosh, can you imagine if he did that? Oh, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my god, man.
That'd be wild.
That would suck, dude. If that was a clause in the contract, you can't reproduce the theatrical versions for any reason.
If there's probably a moratorium on it. Like after a certain amount of time passes, like then that rule is gone now. Like maybe after they have the property for like 50 years, then they can do it or something. I don't know.
Oh, dude, I hope not. No, I hope because I don't know if I'm gonna live for the next 50 years. That's the thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, it'd be cool if they released them.
Yeah, they should. I hope that's not the case. I really hope that's not the case because I really would love to own the theatrical versions of those movies.
Yeah,
I really would.
I don't even think the VHSs were the originals, were they? Or like maybe one run of the VHSs was, and then the second one.
Yeah, I think the ones that came in the gold package, those were the special editions one. And then the ones before that, which was, I guess, just the regular. I remember they came in the black box.
Dude, I think I have that.
If you have that, dude, man.
I think I do. I don't have a VHS.
Digitize it. Send me the files. Send me the files after you digitize it, because I want to watch those movies again. I want to watch them. I miss those movies, and don't get me wrong, I still love rewatching the special editions, but I still miss the charm of the originals.
Yeah, it took something from it. I think
it did.
It added something, but it also took something.
It took the actual sad,
it is what it is.
It took the original rawness of his expression away. That's what happened. That's what it did, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, and the authenticity of the world. Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, yeah.
Whatever. George Lucas.
World, like it feels gritty and real. So. Oh, sorry, a little bit of a delay.
Oh no, that's all right. It's all right. I hope that's not the case regarding not being able to re-release it, but I hope they do, because I think those Blu-rays would do very well if they do release them. But whatever. It's a hope. Huh?
They do it on 4K if they do it. They do both probably.
You're right. They should do it in 4K, because why not? At this point, all the TVs are so advanced now that there's no reason to release movies like that anymore. So as long as they release the theatrical cut in 4K, I'm fine with that. So as long as I just get to see the original, the way it was shown in the theater in 1977, 1980, 80 or 81 when that Empire came out.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, and then 80,
Empire
and then
was
83.
in the middle. Yeah, so 79 I think was the first one, and then it was 2 years, and then it was two or 3 years. So like 81.
I think it was 81. I want to say 81.
I think you're right.
But whatever the case, is there anything else you want to add or mention about your mad science formulas of approach to writing before we call it a day?
No, just that it is mad science. And if anyone is more curious about it, let me know, because I would love to do like full like in-depth series on it, and even run through like legit examples.
There you go.
And I don't mean like, because obviously I'm not going to be able to take Back to the Future probably. I think
you can. No, wait. Hold on. To be fair, I think you can.
Well, for the basics circle probably, but for all this other crazy doing multiple characters with different act structure and all this crazy stuff, probably that's a little bit too hard.
Well, I mean, there's examples like I would say MASH, not the TV show, the movie MASH.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that Robert Altman has done. Have you ever seen any of Robert Altman's movies?
Yeah, if you listed some of them, because I don't always know who.
Well, there's Nashville. There's another one. He's famous for doing the multi-character movies, the movies that had just a bunch of characters in it, and he had this complex plot structures to his movies, but they still worked because he was able to maintain the arcs of all these characters that he introduced in his movies.
That's cool. To see. Yeah.
So I think you should probably check out Nashville from Robert Altman, because he might fit the mold of the structure that you shared with us today, because he's famous for doing, like I said, doing the multi-character movies.
Yeah,
they're hard to do, by the way. I can imagine they're just extremely hard to do because you got so many actors involved.
Actors, characters. I mean, the way that I try to do it is you still have to have kind of at least a main character or a main set of characters, or like even if there's not a main character, that main set needs to have like the same problem.
There you go.
Right.
Then I think Nashville will probably be the best bet for you. It's in the first installment of Robert Altman's filmography.
Oh, really? The first one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like I say, he's the master of that. I haven't seen any director other than maybe P.T. Anderson when he did Magnolia and Boogie Nights, where he had a bunch of multi characters in one set in one movie. I would say Robert Altman's the master of that. So maybe his movies will fit that mold of your approach to telling stories.
And like that, the mold is, while it's like seems stringent, it's really flexible.
There you go. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's, again, like I said, there's 100 different act structures, and there's untold amounts of like sets of characters that you could create in different geometrical shapes or whatever it is, like the way that I do it. So like there's untold amounts of ways that you could put this all together to make something. So it's not as stringent, which is something I didn't like about a lot of the act story structures as well. So this is like, it seems stringent, but it's really flexible, and like you could do so much with it. You know what I mean? It's like Minecraft. You could do whatever you want.
Yeah. That's fascinating that you say that. Yeah, you're right. Okay, well, I actually am personally curious myself to like learn more about this approach and structure, because I'm always open to learning new things. So it's nice and refreshing to get a different perspective on approaching plot development and story structure. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem. It's been fun. I'll always jump at the chance to show someone all of the crazy stuff that I put a ton of work into.
Yeah.
So, not everyone's always interested. A lot of people would rather just, I'm just gonna stick with what I do. I don't care to learn about what other people are doing.
And that's fine too. Just just know that a lot of the times people get left behind when it comes to that kind of thinking. And for me, it's like I'll try it. I'll give it a shot. Let's see.
Yeah, or at least learn about it. Yeah, like you might.
Yeah, at least learn about it. Exactly.
You might not do everything that I'm doing, but you might have taken a few lessons out of this and have it in your head, maybe for the next thing you do, because like
Absolutely.
you do, with the hero's journey and with Robert McKee's principles and stuff.
Absolutely.
I do love sharing this stuff because it's incredibly interesting to me, obviously, because why else would I put a bunch of time into it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Because you there's a sense, at least like my biggest takeaway from it is like there was a lot of thought put into it, and there's a lot of love and care that went into it, because you actually wanted something that, like you said, it's actionable in terms of telling the story. And so, with that said, again, thank you for sharing all that, and tell people where they can find you, if you have any other social media other than X.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I'm mainly have X. I do have a Facebook ran by a buddy of mine, so I don't even know what's on there, honestly. And then I have an Instagram that I don't use very often. But yeah, so I think they're all at Strange Pages, just this Strange Pages, no dashes or anything. So you should be able to find those pretty easy. But X is where I mainly am. I recently changed my Twitter name from Strange Pages to Nick Patch. That was yesterday, because I decided like I'm using this too much, like as my I'm saying stuff that like maybe Strange Pages shouldn't like be saying, like like I'll give my take on different things that are happening in the industry or whatever it is. So now it's Nick Patch. It's me. So if you follow me on Twitter, that's me. That's not just like a business account.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, great. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. If maybe you think his approach is full of crap, then let it be known in the comment section. Or if you think it's something that's going to be great and you want to learn more, then hit him up on X, and he'll be more than happy to share more details with you. If you like more content like this, hey, like I said, sub to the channel, and I'll be conducting more interviews with my fellow indie writers, because I'm always fascinated to hear what they do, how they approach storytelling. Not only how they approach storytelling, but also producing comics, because a lot of the time we are not backed by money. We don't have any publishers behind our backs. It's all out of pocket for the most part, and we do it for love of the medium. I do it. I mean, I can only speak for myself, so I will say that I do it because I just love what the comic book medium offers me as a storyteller. I can do so much with it and not have to worry too much about budget for actors, budget for cinematographers, and so on and so forth. As much as I do love films, in my experience in film school, it's very nerve-wracking, especially when you deal with difficult people on your team. And so I find it to be
at a place. You have to be at a place at a time, and
yeah. And you do have to be built a certain way. You got to be kind of like a military general in a lot of ways when you're writing the movie production. It's got to be tight, because you got budget, money, time is money, and money is time, right? As the old saying goes. But for comics, it's like you said, it's a much easier dance to have with your collaborator. So so yeah, guys, that's the end of the interview, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll see you in the next one. So you guys take care. Peace.
Adios.
On November 27th, 1997, citizens from a small Midwestern town called Carpenter's Bay were shocked to discover that one of their own brutally massacred his family, as well as ending his own life on Thanksgiving Day. Dubbed the Thanksgiving Day Massacre, this horrendous crime would forever tarnish the good name of this peaceful town. However, underneath this story lies a dark secret. A secret involving a government cover-up to hide the real story of what happened that fateful day. As the old saying goes, truth is stranger than fiction. Asset 13, The Last Thanksgiving, written by Julius Freeman, art by Greg Warrenchak, available on Global Comics. Evil has a new holiday.